Welcome to the figureFIT podcast, where we discuss fitness, paleo nutrition, yoga, meditation, spirituality, and other ways to have a happy, peaceful, and abundant life. And here's your host, Liz Nierzwicki.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. I'm super excited to be here today and talking to you. It's just me today, and I'm going to circle back on some nutrition and some topics that I've been having people ask me questions on, and I figure, might as well bring this to the podcast and share this information with everybody. So one of the main themes that I see with my clients and also some family members is that they're not getting enough protein. And then another question that I get often is with my clients, particularly ones who are looking to change their physique and build some muscle, is, am I getting enough protein? And then lastly is how to lose body fat and also basically how to diet and then not lose that hard-earned muscle that you just worked so hard to gain. So this is what I'm going to talk to you about today, because I want to try and address this issue. And a lot of people, it's funny when they think about the paleo diet, they're like, oh, all you eat is meat. Well, that's so not true. I have meat, I have fish, I have eggs, I have protein shakes. I do, even though they're not paleo because they're a legume, I do have beans every now and then because I can tolerate them. So, one of the main things that it's really important for people to understand is that the paleo diet is really all about eating clean, eating foods that were given to us that are here on this planet. They either grow, walk, or crawl, and foods that are absolutely God-given to this planet. And not coming from a package or not coming from a box. And yes, I do protein shakes, and those do come from a package, but I do the highest quality protein shakes, and those come from grass-fed cows. And that is high quality whey protein from grass-fed cows, which is pretty awesome. And then I do also have plant-based protein shakes as well, and those are from pea protein. And I love them. And sometimes you have to have the shakes. And I do the shakes immediately before and after my workouts to fuel my muscles, because that's when you need it the most. So today, I wanted to address some of the questions that I had, because I've had some of my personal clients that I'm working with one-on-one for the Fitness Model Body program is talking about strength training and then also dieting. So one of the common things that I hear is, you need to be having so much protein. And, there's actually been quite a bit of studies done that says there is a ceiling that you could reach when you're actually lifting, and that anything more than that is simply just wasting protein. So what is that? It's really going to be dependent on your lean muscle mass. And what does that mean? So that means you take your body weight and you take your fat percentage and you take your bone percentage. Let's just say your bones are about 6.8 pounds. That's on average what we are, all of us. Someone who's 6'9" might have 8-pound bones, but relatively, our skeletal frame is pretty much around 6 to 10 pounds, and obviously less for babies and little people. So you've got your full body weight, you've got your muscle mass, you've got your body fat percentage, and then you have your bones, and then you have your water, and you're probably 50 to 60% water. So the lean muscle mass is the lean body weight is the lean muscle mass. How many pounds are you in lean body mass? That's taking all the fat off your body. And you need to determine, what your protein intake would be for your body weight. And there's an old adage that it should be for a weight lifter 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And that can be doable, and sometimes it can be a little bit too much. But here is when you absolutely need to have that. You need to have that before and after your workouts, because you just fueled or you just broke down those muscles. You need to have that protein if you're dieting. You actually need to have a little bit more protein if you're dieting, because otherwise your body could totally start turning to that hard-earned muscle and start breaking down, and you don't want to do that. So that's the worst thing you can do, is because you work so hard and your body is basically it's not anabolic anymore. It's tearing down itself to fuel itself, and you don't want that. You want your fuel to come from the foods that you eat rather than the breakdown of your muscles. You would rather have your body break down stored body fat and use that for fuel instead of your muscles, right? So another factor in your protein intake would be age, because people, as we age, they say that protein metabolism is less efficient in the elderly, and the standard recommended daily allowance is 0.8 grams per kilogram. But that's not, that recommended daily allowance is just not good enough. In fact, really, the lean mass in elderly, since they're not using their body as much, they're not using their muscles as much, they're going to begin to atrophy, and health conditions are going to start happening. So elderly people can actually get away with eating more protein. They can. They need to be having, I would say, at least 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight, or like half of that for 1 pound. So let's say your grandma or your mom is 135 pounds. She needs to have 67 grams of protein per day, and she could even probably do more than that. So another factor in that is if you are going through some sort of recovery, some repair from a surgery, or you're on bed rest. Let me just talk about the surgery for a second, because when we are recovering from a surgery, what's happening is we're rebuilding damaged tissues in the body, and we're doing that with the help of collagen. And so protein has the amino acids that are the literal building blocks of every single cell that is being made in your body. And protein contains collagen, and collagen is, what you often know about in terms of like your skin, or keeping your elasticity in the skin. That's all from collagen. So when we are supplementing with protein or collagen, when we're recovering, that is a really, really good thing to do. So when we are sick, or when we're injured, or let's say you heaven forbid have to, you break a leg and you're recovering while you're laying there, you need protein. So you may think, okay, well, I'm not actually using my muscles, so therefore I don't need to fuel them. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to lose all the muscle that you already do have. So you might as well keep the intake of protein steady and consistent, so that the body isn't turning to the muscle that's just sitting there for its fuel, because it will happen. So basically, it's really sending a really bad message to your body when you stop eating protein, you stop consuming those amino acids, and you start becoming a sugar burger. No, not a burger, a sugar burner. And and then just crazy amounts of fat. No, you need that protein. You absolutely need it. In my opinion, protein is it's the number one thing that I focus on getting every single day, above and beyond anything else. I don't pay attention to my carbs. It's protein. I'm looking at 5 different meals a day. And for me personally, about, 22 to 24 grams of protein at every single meal. And then outside of that, I'm getting my good fats, my good healthy fats, and then my carbohydrates, before or after my workouts. And that's it, keeping it pretty clean, but the protein is the consistency there. And so I want to go back here and talk to you about some studies that were done in the bodybuilding community, because, they say that the old adage is that we should have 1 gram of protein per body weight, per pound of body weight. And it's really just become so entrenched in the fitness world that it's not even really questioned. So here's some studies that I came across, and I was reading some really amazing information. So I'm going to totally butcher these names, I think. Tarnopolsky, in a study in 1992, observed no differences in whole body protein synthesis or indexes of lean body mass in strength athletes consuming either 0.64 grams of protein per pound of body weight or 1.10 per pound over a 2-week period. So that means over a 2-week period, they had 2 different groups of people. One group of people who were strength training ate only 0.64 grams per pound of protein. Okay. And then the other group had more than double that. And over a 2-week period, protein oxidation increased, obviously, in the high protein group, indicating a nutrient overload. Now, in another study, Wahlberg in 1988 found that 0.73 was sufficient to maintain positive nitrogen balance in cutting weightlifters over a 7-day period. So nitrogen balance is one of the key things that, when you're lifting weights or dieting or trying to maintain a certain physique, you want to have an optimal balanced nitrogen balance in the body. Okay, so what's nitrogen? Why does it matter? Nitrogen is a compound unique to protein that can provide a direct measure of one's amino acid status in the body. So we've got, out of all the macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, all of them contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Among these, only protein contains the additional nitrogen molecule. And therefore, this nitrogen excretion, meaning the amount of protein being eliminated out of the body, can be measured to determine the amount of protein present in the body at any given time. And really, given up to 70% of protein is found in muscle tissue. Okay, this gives an excellent indication of the body's muscle building potential or muscle loss. Okay, so if the body is excreting more nitrogen than it's consuming, this is going to send out a warning signal that you should immediately increase your protein intake and offset this nitrogen deficit. So here are some of the key stages of nitrogen balance. First off, you have obviously positive, negative, or an equilibrium. In the positive state, this is an optimal state for muscle growth, where the nitrogen intake is greater than the nitrogen output. Essentially, it shows that the body has sufficiently recovered from the last workout, and the greater the nitrogen balance, the faster the workout recovery is going to be for you. And this means that you're in an anabolic state and not a catabolic state. Okay, so when you have a When you have a negative nitrogen balance, this is the worst state for a bodybuilder, someone who's lifting weights, somebody who's dieting, who has worked really, really hard to lift weights. This is the worst place you can be. And here's what happens. Your protein's probably too low. You're not giving yourself enough time to recover. So this is when nitrogen loss is greater than the nitrogen intake. Not only is nitrogen drawn away from the muscle, it's also taken from the vital organs. And this is where serious damage can occur, because your body is made up of muscle tissue, right? And when your body starts breaking down various organs, that's pretty bad. So come on, guys, protein is so essential. This is just one of the things that we need. We need it. And we need it like we need air. Honestly, it's just the truth. So of course, a negative nitrogen balance is also going to destroy your muscle, but it's also doing damage to your organs as well. So just keep that in mind and remember that. And that's why your protein should be the absolute bare bone. You need to know what your bare bone protein intake needs to be. And this is one of the services that I provide. I'm happy to help you with that. All you got to do is go to my website and go to the shop page and let me figure out what your macros are for you. And then the last state is the nitrogen balance. It's an equilibrium state. This is a state where you're not at a too much of a positive. You're not at a loss. You're pretty balanced. And this is where you really, really need to be. And you're not necessarily regressing, and you're not necessarily gaining any muscle. You're just kind of in a state of balance. Now, if you are in the desire to add more muscle to your body, then you should have an intake of protein. You should up it. And if you are dieting, you also need to up your intake so that you're not tearing down that hard-earned muscle. So just remember that this nitrogen balance is really, really key, and it's really important for you to maintain this, okay? All right. So how do we have a negative nitrogen balance? What do we do? What's happening, and why would we have a negative? Let me talk to you about that. First and foremost, you could be eating some really poor quality meats, such as lunch meats or really fatty meats or vegetables for your protein intake, because these are going to be seriously lacking in an optimal balance of all of the essential amino acids that are needed to have a complete protein. Okay. And a negative nitrogen balance is also going to result in the body consuming its own blood products to support the internal organs. Another factor, as I mentioned earlier, could be overtraining. Protein is going to help you rest and regenerate those muscle tissues that you just worked. But too much training coupled with not enough protein intake is going to wreak havoc on the body and also fuel this negative nitrogen balance. So it's so important for you to, following any training session, to saturate your muscles with protein, because they're like a sponge and they're just going to suck it up. So have a good, high quality protein shake after your workout, absolutely within 30 minutes. Don't even think twice about it. This is the best time for you to have that. And it's like a free meal. It's like a freebie. You get to just drink it in and give it to your muscles, okay? Because they need it. And so let me go back one more. Another nitrogen balance negative is when we don't have enough protein in the body. This lack can create fewer antibodies in the body, which those antibodies are needed to fight off infection, any sort of bacteria infections. You may have seen in third world populations, the bloated stomach syndrome. And this ultimately results from a negative nitrogen balance induced. These are induced bacterial infections, and oftentimes death does occur after these. So having a adequate diet that has the right amount of protein, but the right kinds of fats and the right kinds of carbohydrates to be the offset of what you need, because what we need is good protein to support and to fuel the muscles, and we need the amino acids from complete proteins, but we need good quality fats and we need good quality carbohydrates for energy and for our brain. Okay. without considering the importance of the other two macronutrients, the body is going to metabolize protein for energy purposes. Okay, so here's how to keep it nitrogen balance in your body and keep it positive. You want to make sure that you're getting your lean muscle mass of protein every single day. And you want to spare your muscle breakdown during your training. You want to increase your insulin. This is what happens when you work out. So you pull the sugar from your muscles and they fuel your workout. So consuming a liquid meal containing protein and carbs about 1 hour before training is fantastic. And I take my protein shakes before about an hour, and then I also take this exact same one about an hour, or no, within 30 minutes of my training afterwards. So the second step would be to follow up within 30 minutes of protein and carbs to fuel the muscles. And then you can, even at nighttime before you go to bed, have a slow release in protein. If you're okay with casein, that is a dairy-based protein, you can have that. Or you can just have a protein before you go to bed. And that's a really great way to make sure that you go into the night with a positive nitrogen balance. And so as the body is building and repairing while you're sleeping, you're giving it the proper tools to do so. Another thing is getting enough sleep. Resting the muscles following any sort of intense training is absolutely essential. Your muscles begin repairing themselves as soon as you stop battering them in the weight room and they start recovering. So it's important for you to remember that over the next 48 hours, those muscles are going to be repairing and you want to fuel them correctly. Okay. And the last thing is training. Train in an anabolic way. So the idea when training to maximize a positive nitrogen balance is to stimulate the greatest amount of fibers with the least amount of muscle breakdown. So how do we do that? When you finish a training session, the muscle should be in an anabolic state, and this will accelerate a positive nitrogen balance. Longer sessions usually leave the muscle exhausted in a negative way, and the body is left in a catabolic state as a result. So training in an anabolic fashion means that you train when the body is sufficiently rested. You've had enough rest in between the days that you've worked your legs and the days you've worked your biceps. In other words, you are in a positive nitrogen balance for that muscle group. And workouts should really be kept short and pretty intense. So keeping it between 30 to 45 minutes long and maybe 2 to 3 exercises per body part. And train, again, only when you've rested. And that's about it. So let's go back to how much protein do we need. So the RDA says that we need 0.8 per kilogram of body weight. And so 1 kilogram is 1 pound is 0.45 kilograms. Now, that's really not enough. In my opinion, it's really not. It's not just my opinion. It's heavily researched that that's not enough protein for anybody who's lifting weights. It's not enough protein for anybody who's dieting. It's not enough protein for anyone who is aging. It's not enough protein for anyone who is resting and recovering from a surgery or trying to rebuild tissue. It's just not enough because you're ending up in a negative nitrogen balance. So much research has been shown that a good number is about 1.7 grams per kilogram. So what you can do is figure out your body weight in kilograms and then multiply that times 1.7. And Siri can do the work for you on your phone. Hey Siri, how much is 144 pounds or 135 pounds in kilograms? And she'll tell you. And then take that number, times it by 1.7, and that's how much protein you need to be eating every day. So I hope that this podcast helps you. I hope it kind of clears things up with protein, your protein intake needs. It's just one of those things that is so, so incredibly important. And you guys, I can't stress it enough. I would love to help you with this. I would love, love, love to help you. I can help you with your macros. I can help you figure that out. Also, if you need a protein supplement in your life, reach out to me. I am a distributor for Isagenix, and I love their products. They have whey and they have plant-based proteins, and I do take both, and I love them. I've been with Isagenix for since 2012, and their products are fantastic. So Just reach out to me, you guys. If you need help on this stuff, I am here for you, and I would love to answer any questions that you do have. And that's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed the show and have a great day. Today's episode is brought to you by the figureFIT macro calculation. Head to figurefitlife.com, click on the shop tab, and click on the macro calculation. With this special program, you're going to find out exactly the amount of protein, carbohydrates, and fats that you should be eating every single day for the success of your physique goals. There's nothing more important than knowing exactly how many calories you should be consuming every single day. When you have this information, you can rest assured that just by following the path and staying consistent, you will absolutely reach your physique goals. Head to figurefitlife.com, click on the shop tab, and click on the macro calculation. Thank you for tuning in today, everybody. Have a fantastic day.